Buffalo, any fears or concerns maybe about the percentage of reps? I've seen people kind of talk about that. Quinnen plays about 60% of the reps. His peers that have just gotten paid are playing closer to 85 to 95% of the reps. Now, where do you kind of fall on that sort of, snap breakdown? And do you think that there's any concern there?
Well, I know it was a big story last summer, and last summer I wasn't a huge fan of it, but I will say this: number one, our defensive line was incredibly effective last year, and number two, we were really healthy. So I don't know if that's a coincidence. I think there is something to, okay, they're going to be more valuable if they're going to play 17 games, and for the most part, the defensive line was healthy. Now, I do think you have to make an exception for those top two or so defensive linemen that you're really paying a lot of money. And they did for Quinnen last year. He played 65% of the snaps last year, which is a career high. And he missed some games. So if you look at the games where he started and finished the whole game, it was actually closer to 70. So I'm fine with that. Right about 70%, I think, is a sweet spot of keeping guys fresh, but also you got to make sure you're getting the most out of a $25 million investment. And I think they're going to do that.
Yeah, you said something really key there and keeping guys fresh. And I think it's like you can have an argument, hey, Quinnen playing 65% of the snaps or 70% of the snaps at 100%, right, burst, as opposed to playing 95% of the snaps, but maybe being at gassed later in the game. Maybe he's at 75%, internally for what he can give. And then at that point you're like, okay, well maybe it should be a John Franklin Myers or, whoever else you want to have on the inside because they're fresh and they're able to kind of get after the quarterback a little bit more. Matt, what are your thoughts on the snap counts? And do you think there's, something to the health and the 100% maybe effort that you can get out of someone by playing fewer snaps?
Yeah, I think there is something to that, which is why the Jets do it, obviously. I think you can make a case they do it a little bit too much, or sometimes they have the wrong personnel in based on situations. Like there were times where it was either third down or fourth and short. And you're like, well, why is, this guy in and whoever is, sitting on the bench for this rep? And I think they can clean that stuff up a little bit. But yeah, you don't necessarily have to play a guy like Quinnen Williams, 85% of the snaps or something crazy high, just because he's that good and risk the injury. I think the depth is really important on this team. And I like that they're able to rotate through. I just think sometimes they could do it a little bit too much.